Hey everyone, we have some major weather developments coming up, and I want to make sure you're prepared for what's ahead. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see a significant shift in weather patterns across the United States, leading to an increase in winter storms, but in very different areas than what we've been experiencing throughout January. On top of that, temperatures are going to be all over the place with some unseasonably warm conditions in parts of the country, but also some powerful Arctic blasts that will bring bitterly cold air, especially as we head into February. So in today's forecast, we're going to break everything down so you know exactly what to expect and when. And we're already seeing the lot of moisture building up along the Gulf Coast and stretching into the East Coast. This has been responsible for showers and even a few thunderstorms that rolled through Texas last night. Fortunately, we haven't seen any severe weather from this system, but it's still dumping a good amount of rain. And that trend will continue as we move through the day. The southeast and east coast will remain fairly wet thanks to a strong Pacific jet stream that's been pulling in a tremendous amount of moisture from the Pacific Ocean, funneling it right into the southern plains in the southeast. You can actually see this happening if you look at the cloud formations. They're sweeping northeastward, bringing even more moisture into the region. This is setting the stage for a major rain event in the middle of this week, particularly in Texas and Oklahoma, which could also lead to some severe weather and possibly even a winter storm. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Now, meanwhile, over on the West Coast, we've got some really good news. California, especially the southern part of the state, has been dealing with wildfires, and the recent showers and thunderstorms in the Los Angeles area have been a huge help in taming those fires. We're expecting another ½ inch to an inch of rain in some locations today before things start to dry out again. While too much rain in a short period can cause issues like mudslides, in this case, it's mostly beneficial because it's helping firefighters get things under control. This influx of moisture is making a noticeable difference. And over the next couple of days, we should continue to see progress in containing those wildfires. But let's talk about the bigger picture because things are about to change dramatically in the next couple of weeks. Right now, we have a fairly zonal flow across much of the country, meaning the jet stream is moving more or less in a straight west-east pattern. Typically, this results in milder, less extreme weather conditions, and that's exactly what we've been seeing. However, this pattern isn't going to last much longer. By the middle and end of the week, disturbance currently lingering over California is going to speed up, shift northeastward, and develop into a major storm system. And this is just the beginning. February is shaping up to be an active month for winter weather. Another key factor we're watching is the polar jet stream, which is responsible for pulling frigid air down from Canada. Right now, it's mostly staying up north, but as we progress through the week, we're expecting that cold air to start dipping southward. This means snow will be on the way for the Northeast and Great Lakes, accompanied by another shot of cold air for the region. Later in the week, that low pressure system over the southwest will begin moving over the Rockies, particularly on Wednesday. This system will bring a mix of rain and snow to the mountains before making its way eastward. By Wednesday and Thursday, we'll also see a dip in the polar jet stream over the Midwest and Ohio Valley, which will usher in another wave of cold air. Snow will be the main story in the Northeast, with several inches expected by Thursday as the week progresses. That over the Rockies will continue to intensify, leading to a couple of key developments. First, we'll see an increase in rainfall, but more importantly, the risk of severe weather will rise as well. On top of that, snowfall will continue in the Rockies. While this midweek winter storm will primarily impact the Rockies on Wednesday and Thursday, by Friday and Saturday, that system will push eastward into the Midwest, where enough cold air will be present to allow for additional snow and possibly even freezing rain. This will be something to watch closely as the potential for travel disruptions increases. Looking ahead to the weekend and into early next week, the weather pattern is going to shift once again. We're anticipating a large ridge to build across the country, which will result in drier conditions for most areas. So that means fewer winter storms, at least for the first few days of February. However, this break won't last long. By the second week of February, we expect winter storms to ramp up again as the jet stream takes another dip and allows more Arctic air to flood into the lower 48. We've already got our eyes on several storm systems that could bring additional snowfall and cold temperatures to various parts of the country. In terms of winter storms, the first significant system is already developing and will unfold over the next few days. Right now, it's bringing moderate to heavy snowfall to parts of Canada And as we move into Tuesday, some of that snow will extend into the northeast. The heaviest snow accumulations are expected in areas like western and upstate New York, particularly near Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, where some locations could see nearly a foot of snow. This system will then push into New England, where snowfall amounts will generally be lower, ranging from a dusting to a few inches. Even as early as today, we're already seeing that southwest to northeast flow setting up. That's going to be really beneficial for areas that have been hit hard by wildfires recently, like Los Angeles, San Diego, and parts of Arizona. This flow is going to bring in some moisture from the Pacific, and it's going to help provide some much needed relief from the fires. But it's not all good news, because that same moisture is going to bring some potential flash flooding concerns. Areas that have burn scars will need to watch out for debris flows and dangerous runoff. So keep your guard up, especially in the Southwest, as we head into the next couple of days. Now, as we move into Wednesday and Thursday, the setup really starts to get interesting. We're going to see a pretty significant return of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, especially over Texas, which is going to meet up with some cold air locked in that closed off low. This could potentially lead to some pretty intense thunderstorms and heavy rain across the south central U.S., particularly Texas. It's going to be a busy couple of days down there, so if you're in the area, be prepared for some wild weather. Along with that, the polar jet is going to send some seriously cold air into the Northeast, and we're looking at the coldest air of the season for that part of the country. And it sounds like the Northeast has had a lot of cold already, but this particular cold air is going to be intense. It's looking like it will come in around Wednesday or Thursday. So get ready for some brutal temps. This one doesn't look like it'll be impacting Florida, though. So you can breathe easy if you're down south. But the lingering low pressure system in the Southwest is going to keep things unsettled there as we move through the middle of the week. Now, let's take a look at those temperature anomalies. You'll notice that as we go into Tuesday through Thursday, the Northeast is going to get blasted by some pretty cold air. This could be a real shock to the system, but at the same time, the south central U.S., like Texas and Oklahoma, will experience temperatures 20 degrees above average, which is going to fuel some of the storms moving in. So we've got this wild contrast going on, massive cold air in the Northeast and a big warm up in the south central U.S. It's a recipe for some serious weather trouble. That contrast between the Northeast and the central U.S. is setting up a perfect storm for severe weather. And that's exactly why we already have a day 4 species outlook for a slight risk of severe thunderstorms in San Angelo on Wednesday. It's like that this slight risk will likely expand tomorrow, possibly including places like San Antonio, but San Angelo, you're pretty much guaranteed to see some severe weather, especially when it comes to the potential for isolated hail, damaging winds, and maybe even tornadoes. As we head into Thursday, things are going to start shifting eastward. The severe weather will likely transform into a mesoscale convective system, which is a fancy way of saying it'll be a big line of storms with potentially damaging winds. Of course, we always have to watch for tornadoes embedded within that line, and there could be some prefrontal supercells. The severe weather will stretch from San Angelo to San Antonio and all the way up to Dallas. So if you're in Texas, especially those areas, get ready for a rough couple days on Thursday, January 30th, 2025. But it's not just severe weather we have to worry about. From today through tomorrow, there's going to be a decent plum of moisture moving up into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and even parts of the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. This is something to keep an eye on, as it could bring some snow to areas in the Great Lakes region and my neck of the woods as well. We've got that big cold blast coming down from Canada, and it's going to bring snow to the Great Lakes. And as that cold air moves into the Northeast, we'll likely see some snow come along with it. It won't stick around too long, but it'll definitely be something to watch. So as we get into Wednesday, the weather is really going to start picking up. A large area of moisture will begin to set up across the south central U.S. That's going to lead to some very heavy rainfall, even in areas that don't see thunderstorms. Places like the Arch region are going to get some heavy rain, all thanks to the Gulf moisture moving up. On top of that, we've got some snow on the backside of the system in Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. This could actually turn into a pretty significant snowstorm for those areas. As we move into Thursday, this system is going to turn into a much larger storm. We could see a strong winter storm in southern Colorado and northern New Mexico, and that's also when we'll see those severe weather concerns continue in Texas, with Dallas and even parts of Oklahoma City getting in on the action. As the system continues to move eastward, flooding is going to become a major concern. We're talking about heavy rain and flash flooding, especially from Wednesday through Friday next week. Southeastern Oklahoma, southwestern Arkansas, northeastern Texas, and northwestern Louisiana all need to be on the lookout for potential flash flooding. And with the storm system coming together, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing the flash flood risk expanded to a moderate risk as we get closer to the event. So be prepared for wet and wild conditions, especially if you live in these areas. And let's not forget about the snow. The northern side of this system is going to bring snow to places near the Great Lakes. For example, Rochester, New York has a 77% chance of seeing more than 2 inches of snow through 7 a.m. Wednesday. And places around the lakes will see some lake-enhanced snow, but this will also extend down into parts of central Pennsylvania and even up into southern New York and Boston. So it's going to be a busy week, and snow is definitely going to be on the radar for many folks. Looking ahead, the Climate Prediction Center's 6-to-2-day temperature outlook for January 31st through February 4th shows a major pattern flip. We've been stuck in a cold pattern, but that's about to change. Florida and even parts of the Midwest are going to see above average temperatures, while colder air will settle in over the west. That sets up a battle zone in the middle, which could lead to several storm systems. Snow will be a concern in the northern plains, and we'll have to keep an eye on severe weather in the south. This pattern could last all the way into mid-February. So if you've been waiting for snow in Chicago, that's likely going to happen sometime between February 2nd and February 8th. The storm setups will be perfect for snow, especially in areas caught between the cold and warm air masses. That's all I've got for today, folks. The big story right now is the severe weather that's coming for the south central U.S. and all that rain on the way. As long as those SPECI outlooks stay in place, I'll be making daily updates. So make sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and take care.